I've been putting off thinking about this. It's not, it shouldn't, what I'm been putting off thinking about is filling in a couple of those graph gadgets with the details from the array. And I shouldn't be too worried about it. I think it'll all happen in apply settings. Here's load array. If it's succeeded in loading an array, the first thing it does is apply the settings. So that will update the graphs, and they only need to update when the settings are applied. And kind of by accident, I didn't plan this, I didn't really think it through, unusually. I have array and array work, and these two things are the two different states. Array work comes out of paint array having been scaled. Doesn't it? I'm pretty sure it does. That's why I make array work, because initially I was just doing it to array and the scaling was compounding itself, if that's the way to put it. So, at the moment of apply settings, I want to do the, I don't know what you call it, like the parsing of the array where I figure out the values. And I think, well, let's have a look at the array def. Because this hang on a second. Yeah, well, I mean, the array definition is created in such a way as to make it easy to use from inside the renderer, as the renderer was written. There it is, paint array. Yeah, it saves it, then it paints it for the purpose of the final pix map. I should take care of that now that I'm doing it this way. But getting the information about it's the parse time. Sorry, getting the information about what's the highest point and whatnot. Like performing paint array takes a fraction of a second, and that includes doing all this bit and includes doing all the scaling. I think that I'm going to make a method in the array def which just fills in some extra details. Doesn't do all of the scaling, doesn't do the painting, just does the bit where it finds the average point, the high point, and will create an array of a distribution array with as many values as you want, I think. And I'll maybe just store it in the array definition. So let's have a look. What are some extra details? One would be top or highest point. I'll just say highest. Now I'm going to say float average, and I will maybe just say mean, will I? Float and median. going to make this a float as well. Do I really need mean and median? I don't think I do. Oh, I don't know. I'm not. I'm just going to go for average. I think I feel silly going for both. Okay. So I want... I can't do a new... I can do a new array def, it's just totally empty. Okay. So I want method update details. And in update details, I want to be able, when you call it, I want you to be able to determine the distribution detail. And I'm going to call it ddivs. And equals, and by default make it 10. Pass distribution divisions. Number of excuse me. Number of or call it granularity of distribution graph. So local high float equals 0, local and total float equals 0.0. I'm just going for floats here. I'm so sure that I'm going to end up making the data floats as well. It's just going to end up floats. Now, for local I int equals 0 until data length, if data I is greater than I equals data I, total plus equals data I, average equals total divided by data length. Highest. Oh, I could just have used highest actually, couldn't I? I think I will. I'll just say highest equals 0. Data is greater than highest. Highest equals data. And now I need to do something to do with the distribution. I need to say why on earth when you see your own distribution equals, okay, I'm not going for distribution, I'm going for dist. Equals new float ddivs. And I don't know if dist equals null. I always kind of it's just so pointless, isn't it? But anyway. Now, what I need to do is I need to figure out which distribution bucket each pixel falls into. And I want to make sure that it doesn't end up off the top. Right? Is that right? So I need to find the highest first, then I need to go through them all again. I think. So I'll maybe just make a local of I. I can never decide. I wish there was a good answer to. I guess I should be an unsigned int because it should never be less than 0, right? Well, now for I equals 0 until data length. Now, what is it I'm actually trying to do here? I want to divide the current, like data I, current bit of data, what is it, by the highest? So I'll always get a value less than 1. Yeah, dividing it by something larger than itself. So I'll make another little local target index assigned int equals 0. Target index equals, I don't need this, do I? Not if I do the sum right. Let me think about what it really is. I'm saying dist of something plus equals 1. And the something is, it's like data I divided by highest the integer of that. So let's say that data I is a pixel that has 0 in it. So 0 divided by anything is 0, right? And let's say that it's the highest. Okay, so it needs to be then this multiplied by ddivs. And then maybe that not minus 1. That's, yeah, it can't, this cannot be right. Is this thing a mess? Let's say I do want 10 divisions, which means I've got the numbers 0 to 9. And let's say that the highest pixel I come across is 100. And let's say the current pixel I've let's say I come across one pixel and it's 90. 90 divided by 100. Divided by 100 equals 0.9. Right, the integer of that times divs is obviously wrong. It's the integer of all this. Because that multiplied by divs gives 9. So it needs to be times divs minus 1, I think. No, it can't be, because if, yeah, if divs is 1, then it goes to 0. That is right, yeah. Times divs minus 1. I think. No, hang on a sec. 9, yeah, is the highest entry. That's not right, so it should be times yeah, times, am I getting this right? If divs, yeah, so divs has to be great, like I can't allow, I'd say, if d divs is less than 0, d divs equals 0. Because this is times d divs minus 1. I think. And this I should probably make a float. And this I should probably make a float. Ah, I hate all of this, but the integer of the float of data I divided by highest times the float of d divs minus 1. So yeah, you've got to have at least a division. You can't have a new float of 0 divisions. You're just going to have to, and if everything falls in that, then so be it. But I think I'm getting this right, I think. So in my little example there, my data would be at 90. It would be divided by 100, which is the highest. It would be multiplied by 9, and the integer would be taken of that, which is 8. 8 is the correct entry for that. But hang on a second. Because at 0.91 that belongs in the last bucket. Things in my example between 0 and 10 belong in the first bucket. Things between 0 and 10, things between 90 and 100 belong in the last bucket. So at 91 divided by 100 multiplied by 9 equals that, which is still bucket 8. It only gets into the top bucket if it's at the absolute top, and that's not right. And I wonder, like, what happens if I don't make divs minus 1? I think that because I could say, nah, it's not divs minus 1, I just limit it. If you happen to be the absolute top pixel, then you don't get pushed into the next index, you just remain in this top distribution. But if I do that, what happens at like height 5, which should be in the first bucket? I divide it by 100, and I multiply it by not divs minus 1, but by divs, and I get 0.5, and that is right. Divided by 100 equals that, multiplied by 10 that, which would stick it into the first bucket, which is okay. 10, yeah. 0 goes in the first bucket. 9 goes in the first bucket, right? 9 divided by 100 equals that. Multiply by 10. Did I get that right? Equals that. Yep, that lands in the first bucket. So I think that this is it. So I will use ti, and I'll say ti equals this little lot. And I'll just say if ti is greater than or equal to ddivs ti equals ddivs minus 1 ti. It's a bit annoying that the reason this bit of logic's required is because a single pixel, you know, probably, I don't know, maybe so. I suppose a handful of pixels might share the top spot. Does that be a problem? Might be nice to know how many pixels. Maybe I will store plateau size. How do I spell plateau? I think I'll just call it top size. And this could be an integer. Because I'm going around this again, I think I can do this. I can say if data I equals high top size plus equals 1, and then I can also say ti equals ddivs minus 1, and I can say else, and that does not need to be done anymore, I don't think. And it, oh, yeah, oh, it's not divs minus 1 anymore, it's just divs. Sure, it's just divs. Except in the case of things where they're at the top size. This is dodgy, and it shouldn't be highest, it should be high. It shouldn't be high, it should be highest. I don't know why this feels so dodgy. Maybe it's not dodgy what I'm doing, but I do feel like it, yeah, well, it feels and looks dodgy. And I think this is okay. What's the problem you see here? I really do think it is okay. Oh, now I see okay. Yeah. Is this really sensible? I'm going to be doing it anyway, so I'll leave that because maybe I'll take out this highest top size thing. I mean, I'm really hoping that this is not going to cause a problem, because I don't want to stick in an extra limit in here. It shouldn't be necessary, and it will mean that things end up going less accurate, you know. It would seem to mean things would be less accurate if I'm having to constrain it more than just the absolute top. I'd wonder why my sums are giving such crazy results. should be less than 1, and this should be less than, if this is less than 1, it should be equal to 1. More stupid things I'm doing. But right. Okay. You know something? I don't see any problem with that. So here in apply settings. Well, no, first off in load array, let's say it's got to this point, just before I apply the settings, I should be able to say array update details, and I guess I'll make a global here associated with the view gadget, and it will be called graph detail. And up here somewhere. I suppose here. It can be just start out at 10. Now, let's see. Oh, I'm getting a little bit stumped by what I've got to think about. So I've got the graph detail in a load array. It does this. Okay, I'm going to make the other graph as well. Where am I? Things to do with arrays. Well, I feel foolish. Oh no, it's up here, things to do with arrays. Distribution graph. And dist scaled graph. Bar graph gadget. Now, yeah, okay. And down in here somewhere, I say cx plus equals dist graph width plus bore. And now I make dist scaled graph equals new bar graph gadget. Info panel cx cy graph width comma graph height dist scaled graph align sides relative on the left, locked to the right on the right, and locked to the bottom of the panel. And I'm not going to set either of these things just now. It should basically be fine. It just shouldn't display anything if it doesn't have any data, I think. I should check the gradient as well. I think it gives itself a default gradient. Well, I did make it do that, and I hope that's okay. Dist scaled graph align sides. Right. So, where am I? In load array. Array update details graph detail. Now I think I'll have another little method, which is update graphs separate to separate to update gadgets, because the graphs are totally separate. And it'll get called in apply settings. This one only needs its details updated there. Array work after it's been painted needs its update details to graph detail. And I would like to call update graphs. And in update graphs I want to say dist graph set, look at all this stuff. What on earth was it? Set gradient. And it's array position. And dist graph set data array data. No, not that. That would be bad. It's array dist. I hope I did accept an array of floats to that thing. Yes. And dist scaled graph set gradient. Our work position. And dist scaled graph set data our work dist. So that is no way gonna work. Look at all this. Okay, don't know what that's doing there, but have another go. Set gradient. Oh, dist graph has no set gradient. Oh, right, okay. So I need project gradient set get gradient at that, and the same kind of thing down here. But for our work. Okay, well, at least it's running again. I'm speaking too soon. At least I'm at the point of trying to run it again. But now, basically, what I'm expecting, if I've done those sums right, is, and the logic, is to be able to open up the array editor, open the info panel, and see a pair of graphs. One from the array as it was loaded, and one from the array after, or the copy that is made of the array after the work's been done on it. Let's just see. mean, it never has liked opening that. Okay. Well, you know, I think that's accurate. I think that is just accurate. It's fascinating. That's 0.5 exponential value. 0.2. Whoa. And I don't think that really helped, did it? 9.5. Okay, so what on earth? I don't believe I am doing this right. It's not like this, honestly, is like pretty close. Maybe, but why is this? And why am I not seeing anything? If this is 9.5% of it, how can this be 9.5%, this 4.7, this 99%, 44%, 8.9, and everything else at 0? Okay, well, clearly my sums do not add up. 0.4. Is this changing at all? Yeah, it is, but not in the way I would expect it to, really. And all of this is still kind of bananas seeming. Ugh. Well, okay, so the sums are blatantly wrong. What can I say? But it's hard to know which part of my sums are wrong. I'll just have to... Well, hang on a sec. Scale style none. Apply. Okay, wow. So, I mean, don't know what to make of that, really. Linear. It is pretty baffling in a way. And none of that's making any difference now. It's changing the outcome in the background, but... Well, see, that did seem to change it. The value, the height of the thing didn't change, but this number did. Okay, well, first off, I'm pleased enough that the graphs are appearing okay. I'm pleased that something does seem to be happening. But I'm going to have to get back in and look at the logic of what I'm doing, because clearly it ain't right. This, I mean, it's sort of obviously wrong. There's far too much bright red. Right? I don't know. With none, I can sort of almost believe that 99% of it falls below this. Can't believe 9.5 or 4.7 lie weirdly in between these, and with no visible... It's like I almost believe the bars. Almost. But not this. Except for the fact that it's supposed to be doing none. Hang on, so do the numbers actually... No, the numbers are even wronger when it's supposed to be doing no scaling. Okay, right, well. Okay, so not a total success, but not a total disaster. Bar graphs are still displaying nicely enough, but obviously I have errors in my info gathering logic, but I'll begin to sort them out next time.